Pacifica Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. Authorities are still searching for Charlie Kirk's killer, a co-founder of the student conservative forum Turning Point USA. He was shot and killed in broad daylight during one of his Prove Me Wrong forums for open debate. This one held at Utah Valley University Wednesday. Kirk, who once said it's worth having some gun deaths every year so we can have the Second Amendment, was debating guns when he was shot and killed.
So, do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Too many.
Okay. It's 5. Okay, now 5 is a lot, right? I'm gonna give you some credit. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
Kirk's wife and children were present. The assailant remains at large. Former presidents decried political violence, including Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and George W. Bush. President Donald Trump shared a more polarized sentiment denouncing political violence of the left, without mentioning the shooting death of a Minneapolis Democrat earlier this summer.
For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today.
Funerals held for the 6 men killed by an Israeli strike in Qatar's capital Doha, targeting Hamas members negotiating a peace deal. Hamas has said 5 of its low-ranking members were killed in that strike. Tensions between Israel and Qatar are increasing. Qatar's prime minister spoke to CNN ahead of a United Nations appearance today and said the strike dashes hopes of a hostage release deal.
I was meeting one of the hostages' family that morning, the morning of the attack, carrying a message that the families, they are counting on this mediation. They have no other hope for that. And I think that what Netanyahu has done yesterday, he just killed any hope for those hostages.
Family members of hostages still held in Hamas captivity rallied in Israel, demanding Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu end the war and secure their return. After Netanyahu issued this defiant statement likening the strike on Qatar to the U.S. strikes on al-Qaeda after 9/11.
It harbors terrorists. It finances Hamas. I say to Qatar and all nations who harbor terrorists, you either expel them or you bring them to justice, because if you don't, we will.
Tensions are ratcheting up between Russia and Poland after more than a dozen drones flew into Poland's airspace overnight. Tuesday night into Wednesday, Poland's Prime Minister Donald Tusk says the country is the closest to open conflict since World War II. He told Parliament Wednesday he's invoking Article 4 of NATO to begin consultations with allies to respond to the drones that entered Poland's airspace.
The fact that these drones, which directly threatened our security, were downed is, of course, a success for our and NATO's military, but it also changes the situation. This is not just a war for Ukrainians. This is a war, this is a confrontation that Russia has declared on the entire free world. And this must finally be understood by everyone, without exception.
The military described the incursion as an act of aggression. Russia said it was not targeting Poland. Tusk noted reports say more than half the drones came from Belarus, a sign Tusk said the drone deployment was planned. Senate Republicans blocked a bill directing the release of files on late wealthy pedophile Jeffrey Epstein Wednesday. He had hobnobbed with the wealthy, including President Donald Trump. A birthday book note that appears to be signed by the president has the image of a woman's body and the words, "Let every day be a wonderful secret," which has spurred speculation of the extent of Trump's relationship with Epstein. The president has denied its existence, and since its release, now denies that it's his signature. The White House suggested a handwriting expert weigh in. Chair of the Oversight Committee investigating the Epstein scandal, James Comer, rejected that. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer's fired the UK's ambassador to the US, Peter Mandelson, over his links to the convicted offender, Jeffrey Epstein. He once called him "my best pal." Today marks the 24th anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks in New York. At the World Trade Center site, nearly 3,000 victims' names were being read aloud today. I'm Christina Onestad reporting for Pacifica Radio.